okay, I got thoughts.
Okay.
With the caveat that I'm going to give this movie a thumbs up. I don't think it's aged particularly well. I think that at the time that it
Hooray,
came
casual racism.
at the time that it came out in 1992, I think it was a new thing for its time, and I know it got a lot of ink, and I remember liking it a lot at the time.
Really? All right.
Watching it now, where do I start? The music, fucking terrible.
Yeah, thank God there's
Particularly,
not so
I
much
got
of it.
I got one big problem is that there is a music cue when Bill Paxton sees his kid for the first time that basically it's like it all but like telegraphs this is your child, where they probably could have like left that. I mean, there's just a couple of like really harebrained music cues. The acting is for me it's hit and miss. I think Paxton's great. I think Billy Bob is kind of terrible. I think
He hits one note the entire film.
his one note. I mean, let's face it.
Billy Bob Thornton plays Billy Bob Thornton.
Now he wrote this movie, so I'm going to give him a pass on that. But I don't think he's particularly good in it. The clothes are extremely dated, but whatever. I'm not going to hold that against it. The camera work is questionable at times.
Well, they're using that high key 80s 90s thing. It's all just real flat.
Really flat, and then the weird tilting the camera thing at the end, I didn't really understand. I mean, Tad's got a screen grab, like putting the camera in a 45-degree angle. I don't really get. It is
Dutching the shit out of this for like 10
weirdly
minutes.
unnecessarily cruel at the
They
beginning.
thought they were in a less
The
planned
10-minute
film.
development in the beginning of this film and the
It's
ending of this film are
unnecessarily
some of the
cruel.
bloodiest
I mean,
things I've ever
just
seen.
is. But
But they're not bloody. That's actually the problem with this movie is like this movie has all of this brutal violence in it and you never actually feel the brutality. Like except for the moment where the guy's laying on the ground with the plastic bag around his head.
It's sadistic stuff and you see this sadism.
I do not feel the sadism in this at all.
I did.
It feels so anodyne.
But what happens after this happens and the 10-minute development's done and the first act starts, it kind of quiets down into like this weird little soap opera.
a little bit.
Well, but even the second set of murders in Houston, you don't feel bad for the people who get killed there because they're shitheads who are trying to rip them off too.
Bad guys on top of bad guys, yeah.
That's like true. It's just like, oh, who fucking cares? I want to actually say that I think 3 of the supporting actors in this are really good. Michael Beach, who plays Pluto, is
I thought he was good.
He's fucking fantastic.
He found I'm going to play this guy super understated and just like my understatedness is going to be menacing.
But he's seething.
All the stuff in the car, when he's sitting in the middle back seat of the car.
It's an unusual approach, actually. It really is. It's like this guy
with the buttoned up collars, they really created a character there where you're like, okay, he's got 150 IQ. He's not going to do anything unless he thinks it's a good idea, but you know he's capable of fucking anything because you see him do that stabbing at the beginning of the movie.
And that guy with glasses. And that is
he also tapes. He's the one who tapes the bag around the guy's head.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the scariest guy in the movie.
He is.
Jim
Metzler, who plays Dud, who's behind Chris.
Yes.
Here.
I liked him.
I think he's pretty good. I like good. And then
he sort of reminded me of Lawrence Kasdan in Into the Night.
And
then
it
reminds me of the principal or whatever from the Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club, yeah.
And then Natalie Cannerday, who plays Paxton's wife. Who's good in everything. Good. Like anytime you see her, she's good. But she has this sort of like resigned energy through the whole thing of like, oh, my husband's an idiot. Like I love him. He's good to our kid and all of this stuff, but also he's just dumb, like, and she has this sort of disconnect from the rest of the movie that I think is really interesting because it's like, yeah, oh, you want a cookie? Like, and the scene where her and Bud have, or Dud have that conversation about when he goes in to get the other bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, she's like, don't let him get killed, basically, is the question.
Right. And then he puts the whiskey back.
Yeah.
And then goes outside. He's like, hey, we should go. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
Like there are these little moments in the Arkansas part that I thought were pretty interesting. Unfortunately, the rest of the movie is just bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I don't know if
bad,
it's
but I think that you put your finger on that's the heart of the movie is sort of the Paxton character and his relationship to these LA cops and this thing happening in his town, which is clearly the biggest thing that's ever happened in his town.
Kind
He
of
says,
makes
I've
you
never
think
drawn
about
my.
Copland a lot, don't it?
It did remind me of Copland a bit,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
Copland is
A
good.
little bit, a little.
that's the dynamic that's interesting here, and
The
I
dynamic
think
here in the film is actually
It's weird because it
it's
also
actually
reminded me of Beverly Hills Cop.
it reminded me of
Me
High
too.
It's
Which is
actually,
also good.
it's like inverted.
yeah.
It's like
an
LA comes
inverted
to
Beverly
LA
Hills
comes to
Cop.
them instead of
But
the other way
no,
around.
the film is High Noon. They're
Yeah.
waiting for bad guys to
Mhm.
show up. That's
Yeah,
the same. That's the
that's-
structure. It's in play here. It's a High Noon
Yeah.
structure. Yeah.
And
I'm
honestly,
with you, Chris.
I remember seeing this at the time when it came out because I mean, like probably some of you guys. I mean, I was just a huge Bill Paxton fan going all the way
Yep.
back to Terminator.
Handsome Devil.
Like, seeing anything he was in, I knew it was going to be great. And seeing him in this was sort of like a different kind of role for him. And I mean, I think the inherent sweetness of that guy kind of comes through. I mean, yes, it's a bit. I mean, the whole dynamic of he's going to overhear the conversation where they're basically calling him a red and a hick. So
That was a heck of a scene, actually.
yeah, I just like
I was
that
hoping something
comes
happened in
about 10 minutes after he just randomly drops the N-word at the table.
right.
Mhm.
But what's weird is that where it doesn't lead to anything. They diss him behind his back, but what is it? Does it create it doesn't really create a kind of a conflict. He just kind of like,
Well,
yeah,
it's
I
like
guess I
everything
am.
else
Put him back in his
with his
place.
character. It just rolls off him.
Yeah,
It just
pretty
reminded
much.
him.
Right.
No, I think it reminded him who he like. At the end of the day, you're
he is.
an Arkansas, small town Arkansas sheriff, and I mean, yeah, he comes through at the end. I don't know, the movie ends before we find out whether he made it or not. But
Yeah, funny.
I think that again, like despite the fact that there's many things about this that haven't aged well, I do think that for its day, this was groundbreaking but we've all seen this movie now done 30 or 40 times since, like this sort of small town noirish.
We've seen it done better before and since.
Well, I'd have to think about its contemporaries, like other than like Red Rock West, which I need to watch again because it came out about the same time that this did, and it's the closest thing I could think of to its tone. That's one with Nicolas Cage and Dennis Hopper. But there are movies in this movie's wake that I think maybe handle this a little more effectively. And again, I think it looks like a 1992 movie. It's overlit. Yeah. There's just a lot of things about it that just are of its time and have not transcended the 30 years since it came out. But I still think it's successful despite all the things I mentioned that still that bug me now 30 years later.
No, there's like it's a classic like Hollywood like midline production from the days. It's four tractor trailers full of gear and grip and trailers for like the actors that go out in locations, shoot for 3 weeks and come back. We see them all over the country back then. It was just real common, right? But the thing is, one thing about this is there's a nostalgic angle to this thing because this is all set in Arkansas, right? Like most of it. It's like back then there was no red state, blue state thing. It was just a place where people had funny accents. There's weirdly the things we know about Arkansas and the South now weren't really that strong back then.
I've spent a bunch of time in the Ozarks, so no.
No, well, no, it's always been like that. I guess
where Clinton came from.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah, he came from Little Rock. Little Rock's different.
But there was a sense of commonality about all Americans in this film that's not here anymore. I'm bringing this in. It's not.
I'll give you that.
Nevertheless,
but this movie's also. But this movie is also about the difference. That it's not just that they're from the big city. They're from California.
Yeah.
It's not just they're from the big city. They're from the California. And the attitudes are different. And
this is country mouse, city mouse, not just
the heat of the night did it better.
Right.
Good call, Jim.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris, I agree with everything you said. Like, as again, 2 movies from the 90s. Buffalo 66 was the movie I remember, and it's the same movie watching it again now. This is slightly diminished in my eyes because of all the things you said. The music cues are just, oh no, a saxophone, why is that playing now? And just, in general, it doesn't. It's not as great as I remember it, but it's still a good movie, I think.
I wanted to say Cindy Williams. I wanted to say that Cindy Williams is a better actress than this, but she's not actually. Like I went and looked back through her filmography, and it's like you're just in mediocre shit top to bottom. Like it's
So did she and Billy Bob get divorced because of this movie?
Oh, were they together?
I
They
didn't know
were
that.
married for a couple of years.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
did
didn't
not
know
know that.
No
Yeah.
idea.
I assume they got divorced because of his ponytail.
That
That's
was,
ponytail crime.
I know where
that
Joe
was
was.
his real ponytail.
Effing
They
crime.
call Billy Bob Ponytail at one point in this movie, which
Yeah, I
is just
know.
great. Where's
I know where
Ponytail?
Jolie comes in this whole story. Then we can leave her after, which is
All
probably
this is
part of it.
terrible.
Yeah.
What?
All of his outfit is horrible.
Yeah,
it
those
is.
pants, man. And the last scene is just
The
oh.
pants.
The high-waisted pleated khakis.
Yeah,
Ugh.
the linen jackets.
He looks like he's trying to sell you insurance.
As a joke goes, he's the last.
He's much better as Santa.
He's the last member of Members Only.
Do you want Jared's bit?
Yeah, read
I'm gonna
Jared.
guess Jared didn't like this.
I have no idea. I don't read these ahead of time.
I think he came.
let's
all over.
find out.
One false move. Pretty brutal opening, but the whole movie is shot in this kind of clean TV movie style I'm not crazy about. The whole thing is a little clunky, disjointed feeling, but it was compelling enough. This director made a great film a few years later called Devil in a Blue Dress. He's right about that, which has been on my short list. I'm not crazy about this movie, but it's fine. A mild thumbs up with a petition to rename it One False Move, a ponytail story. Billy Bob's hair is epic. The only thing worse than a ponytail on a man is a ponytail on a man accompanied by a bald spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Pulling off the bald mullet look without a
Yeah,
mullet.
That's
yeah,
by the way,
Jared's
that's called a
right.
skullet.
Jared is right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Can I argue with that?
Agree with that one.
I think that's the mic drop.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna give it. I'm not giving it a mild thumbs up.
Yep. I'm here.
I'm right about right here.
I watched it.
The only thing that gets me out of this is this guy's harmonica
Harmonica
playing.
playing.
He's a great
Ooh,
harmonica.
I wanted to turn that right down. That was annoying as fuck.
Fuck you. He's real good at it.
I don't care.
What was that?
It's like if you're on a road trip and somebody brought a harmonica, that's just like, oh no.
No,
No.
I just telling the
But he's not on the road trip. He's just a dude hanging out.
no.
Well, why does he just keep playing?
He's there
playing,
to tell
playing?
the audience
This was
that
a good scene.
he's there
It's to
the
tell us
audience-
it's tennis or it's Arkansas.
That it's Arkansas.
He's there
Yeah.
to tell the audience we're in the South. That's it.
I
It's
fucking get it.
It's like having a road sign saying you're in the South. That's basically
get
the
it.
same thing. Okay, no, it is.